Hi, I'm Emily,
And I'm Eric.
and welcome back to the You Should Thank Me podcast, a podcast about a married couple in our 40s living in Ontario with their two doggies and some things to chat about.
Yeah, this week we're talking about all things spring, from muddy dog walks to tax time tension, and why we finally think it's safe to store the snow shovel.
Do you think it is?
Yeah, you know what? I generally, I like the winter, and I thought we had one more snowfall, and we might still, but it's going to be like a goodbye snowfall, I guess. It's not going to stick around. So no snow shovel. Got the tires changed today, so that's right. Oh yeah, and maybe a bit too personal. And then my long johns go away too. But maybe not the best kept secret in town, but I wear long johns like 8 months of the year.
I thought your Northern Powers were stronger than that.
Well, it's not about the Northern Powers. It's just I like some long johns on until I know it's safe to take them off, and it's just like a plant. My legs start to bloom in the sun. You saw them, you saw them. Thankfully, you were in sunglasses. They're still now I'm getting tanned up.
Yeah, they were quite pale. But
I thought you were going to say sexy. Okay, pale goes for another word.
they're pale, but I'm very pale too. So it is what it is. Trying to load up on sunscreen on my face and stuff.
Yeah.
Good times. How was your week?
It was all right. It just felt like another week. I felt like, stuff. Oh, well, actually, no. Sports is happening. So we got a lot of playoffs, so I'm enjoying watching a lot of sports.
Yeah. Yes, I played musical trivia with some friends on Friday. As you know about, obviously you weren't there. So that was fun. That was probably like one of the highlights of my week, I would say.
Yeah, you got some questions right in here as well.
3.5.
3.5 questions. I don't know how you get half. Well, I guess you could just name the band.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's exactly what I did. So out of 45, I got about 3.5. So
hey,
I warned them that I was not going to be any type of asset to it because, as you know, zero pop culture knowledge or memory. So yeah, I'm pretty useless when it comes to that stuff. So you and me a lot.
Yeah, I love trivia, but it has to be general knowledge. Like I don't want to go into like music or sports or like I want it to be all of those things. Like if I know I'm into music, I have to be with like people that can make it fun. I've done music trivia before, and there's people out there that like make it for real and be trivia buffs and there. But I've done well in trivia.
Yeah, I think you're.
Yeah, just know all kinds of junk.
Yeah, I don't. So
Yeah, there you go.
my topic's probably like an animal topic. Like animals would probably be my go-to if I had to like pick a best subject, and I assume yours would probably be sports. I would say.
Yeah, sports, movies, shows, even music.
But you remember a lot of the facts for like sports, like all the.
I know a lot of
like stuff. Yeah, I feel like that's what I'm trying to do it for sure.
Sure. And I try to know like sports that aren't even in my wheelhouse, like NASCAR or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and also I think it was just last week. I had my first, TMI as well, but my first year that I had in a very long time. So that's good news. Glad that's over with. Let's just say that.
That's good, yeah. It's spring cleaning.
Yeah, it's adulting is what it is. It was long overdue, but yeah.
That's good. Well, I have nothing to retort that with. I've been known to be really good at pap smears. Like I'm not the audience to really talk about that too much. I guess I don't have a lot of information.
I was going to say, just generally speaking, going back to the topic of spring, not cleaning, just spring.
Okay, yeah.
Do you feel, I know we talked about the snow shovel, but do you feel like we are kind of like officially, do you feel like
that winter's over?
Yeah, or like the warm, spring kind of bug and how it's like, oh, okay, we're finally kind of over that hump. Like for me, the thing that's obviously that I've talked about recently, like between you and I, is just when you start seeing the trees like start to bud and have like greenery on them. It's just like it just lifts me. Like it just makes my day so much brighter. So and every day I feel like kind of you can see it change like day and day. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I think like the time change is a huge thing, and like days just start to extend. But I agree. Yeah, I think like we're in springtime, literally and figuratively. It's just you know, I in my head now I'm not looking. I'm not thinking that it's gonna snow. We're gonna have like a windstorm or something like that. And that's to me is like spring. Yeah.
Well, and I think too, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like you also get excited for like doing work, like doing yard work again, like being able to clean up. No,
I do, but it's just like sometimes you make me sound like I'm a super weirdo. Like, oh, I do like to clean up the yard. Yes, I don't think anyone gets too like I do get I do enjoy pulling things out and like from the shed and setting up the yard. Yeah. So, but that's kind of like every week. I even as soon as the snow starts to melt, like I kind of go back in the yard and I do a little bit of raking. And yeah, and so everything's kind of going nicely. Been, trying to keep animals out of the yard and things like that. They just get in all the nooks and crannies. So
yeah, they're my nemesis. Well, I think it's mainly I mean, I love rabbits and I think they're cute, but the dogs really love their little turds. So and then it makes them sick. So it's just a vicious cycle.
Yeah, and I'm not a big fan of the mice that come around. And kind of the same thing. I just don't want them in the house somehow. And that we did have a mouse way back, and sometimes like I think like I plugged in all these holes this years ago, but I remember being like so like disgusted by it. But so I'm always trying to get rid of them. But I will say I'm a big fan of the snakes in the area.
I know. That's what I was just thinking about that too.
They're just like the most. They're weird, and I get it, but they take care of like all the bugs and stuff. And I just find like there's less animals around when snakes around. But
yeah, I don't, and I'm not afraid of them, but I just find them like creepy.
They surprise me a lot.
That too, yeah.
Yeah, and I you know what's sad is like how slow I've become. Like I remember being like 11, and we used to catch like a dozen snakes and put them in like just a bucket. And now I'm like surprised if I catch one by the tail. I'm like, wow, I'm like so slow.
Yeah.
But I like the snakes that are coming out, and the birds too. Like I saw a cardinal the other day, and I was like, oh man, such a. I think there's going to be a time in my life where I get into the bird watching.
Yeah, I feel like we sort of talked about that.
Yeah.
Didn't we recently talk about that? But I feel like there's just like it's not like if, it's when for every like adult. It's just like inevitable that it's gonna happen. But
did some gardening, did some clematis up, and
yeah, I feel like we did that maybe like a week ago.
No, like 3 days ago. I think Friday. Yeah, so just a couple days ago.
Yeah, I think like I was scared that they weren't going to be like happy, but I think they are already growing. So we should take photos every day. Like
I already have a couple photos of my clematis and
your clematis or my clematis?
Well, both. I'm not gonna like this in my will is my clematis, which goes to my part of my family, and that one goes to yours. Yeah. I do think they've been growing a little bit, but we have we have one. I don't know what those plants are. They clematis in the back.
No, I forget what they are.
But
I save all my little tabs for all the flowers because I forget what they are.
Yeah.
Is green thumb mean you are good at it or not?
Green thumb means you're good at it.
So I'm
well, I don't think anyone starts day dot like. Okay, there are people that are like naturally good with plants, but like I'm in the same boat as you. It's like I feel like I get better every year. But I will say the one that we think is sick in the backyard. If you look at, so I went in there and I watered it because they always want a lot of water, and they there's blooms on the back of it.
Yeah.
Took away some old leaves that were connected to it, and I see something blooming in the back. So I think we're good there.
Yeah. I didn't think that it was dying, to be honest. I just didn't think it was as happy as the other one, because I think the other one gets a lot more sun.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why. Like, it gets like all the
A
evening
lot more
sun.
discussions too.
Yeah, that's true. The one, well, no, that's the one that's not doing as well.
Well, I talked to the one.
The green one? The one that's- Yeah. So trying to plant a lot of like vines in the back to just basically cover everything up. Like kind of cover up like the fence that splits sort of the top yard from the bottom yard, and then the front clematis will hopefully like cover sort of like the front porch. That's the goal, but
Yeah.
and I do think, and I talked to this about this with a friend, but it seems like some critter ate like 3 out of my 4 hostas, but apparently because they're tubular man, they're gonna grow back and they can just like, but I don't know, they don't look very, I mean, they literally look like nothing. It's not even like they're chewed to like, a stem. Like there's literally like nothing left.
Right.
So I don't know if I'm gonna have to, steal some more plants from my mom, but
Right.
yeah, they're not very happy. That section's not very happy. Not quite as thriving as I hoped it would be once all the snow melted. It's quite the opposite really in that area, but it's been fun gardening, I agree. Like year after year, we definitely get better. We have, bigger plans kind of like each building upon like
Bigger plants.
Correct.
And things happen. Like we used to have like a kind of a dead pear tree. I think it was a pear.
Pear, yeah.
And it there was like in the early years it was doing well, but I think like pear trees need to be near other like plants to kind of pollinate. Yeah, that's the word. And it just died one year, and you had to prune it in the winter, and I did that. And it wasn't getting any better, so I just like knocked it down. I think it was a good thing, just because it was in a stupid spot.
It was in such a dumb spot. Like literally like in the middle of the yard, pretty much when you walk out on the path for like 5 steps, and then it's like there. It was so stupid. Like I don't know, maybe the yard was set up differently. Like when they first planted it, I don't know. It was cute. Like I did like it because it was pretty and it,
And then there was like
some shade, but
there was another tree behind the shed too that I knocked down too. It was like kind of secretly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So what else has been going on?
Well, thankfully it hasn't been too rainy, so the dogs have been relatively clean.
Yeah, they're getting hot too, though. Like,
Sure.
we need to get a haircut soon.
Yeah, I got a haircut from this week.
This week, nice.
Yeah, probably trim him back. I think pretty short. Duke, especially the Cocker Spaniel, for whatever reason, he gets so hot. Like, I mean, obviously he does have a lot of hair, especially when it's grown out, which it's probably like half grown out now. But yeah, he gets outside and it's like double digit. If it's double digits, he's like panting within like 5 minutes. And I don't think it has to do with him being out of shape. I just think he, you know what I mean? Like, I think it's because he's hungry. It's because he has
just
cardio.
How they sweat.
Yeah.
They're gonna be their time, right? So, but we find after we do a haircut, it doesn't seem like they're, having as much trouble navigating outside. So, I'm just glad we're gonna get some shears on them, and we generally keep them kind of trim, but both of them have pretty big coats. So.
Yeah, I know she's quite hairy right now. Thankfully that they don't shed that much. I don't think. I would say that. I mean, they're certainly not like hypoallergenic or anything like that, but I think.
Right. Yeah.
But I think generally speaking, like they don't really shed. Like it's. I mean, obviously there's hair, but it's pretty good. Like I just think of my parents who have a golden retriever, and I feel like they could if they wanted to like vacuum every day because she's like a hairy beast, but yeah, so they have long hair, but it doesn't shed. It's not that fine hair. It's not fine fur. It's more like hair that they have, which I love.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that kind of reminds me, we got a new vacuum.
Oh yeah, I think that was another highlight from last week.
Yeah, hey, that vacuum is pretty. So I don't know. Like, I feel like we talked about this. We kind of have a vacuum timeline of vacuums we've had. Like, I guess we're gonna talk about
I know. Well,
right?
this is the content you get when you
Yeah,
hear
I
podcasts
know.
with people who are 40 plus. That's just the way it is.
I didn't think I'd start. Well, you'd start and we'd start this podcast, and 8 weeks in, I would talk about vacuums.
Mm.
Because we've had a fair bit of vacuums, and some of them are broken, mostly because my mom is awesome, and she's given us a bunch of vacuums because she has a few,
Mm-hmm.
and they were just so heavy.
Yeah.
And we ended up finding this really good vacuum there that was really lightweight, and it was battery operated.
Mm-hmm.
So you didn't have. So it was really handy, but because it's battery operated, it's not strong.
Yeah.
And the battery is just
Yeah. It's like a battery per floor. And
Yeah.
their floors aren't even gigantic floors or anything like that. But
this new vacuum looks like it's kicking butt for you.
yeah, I'm honestly really happy about it. I mean, I think it does because the upstairs is carpeted and the main the main primary floor is like hardwood. So I feel like the vacuum that's battery operated works decently okay on like hardwood, but yeah, for the carpet, which like I would switch in between. Like I would use the same new vacuum for the whole house now, but yeah, I just find it like it just feels cleaner like with the new vacuum because it's like a plug-in.
Yeah, and I feel like my mom would be like, get like central air or whatever in the sense where you just plug in the plug and it vacuums wherever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, like my house, well, our house is like so like it's like, you know. But yeah, the vacuum, but it was like a whole thing because I like the battery operated vacuum. I still think it works really well. It's just yeah, like I can understand. We found, we had these massive vacuums, and then we found kind of the smallest.
We went like extreme the other way.
Yeah, yeah. We went on one side of the spectrum to the other side. Now we just right. It's kind of like the porch,
Mm-hmm.
Papa, Mama,
Yeah.
just
Baby
right.
bear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So which one am I? I guess the mama bear. The baby bear.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess like rooting this conversation might bring it up. The bears. Bears.
But yeah, I guess that was probably like a highlight of my week. Last week, sadly, only because it also worked out. So like only because like the background was good. So
yeah, I think my highlight is just getting taxes done.
yeah.
And they're not done yet, but they're pretty, they're like 95% done, which is nice. And it's just one of those things where I never worry about it. But I remember there was like one year when I was like really broke and I owed money somehow, which was, I wish I could go back and talk to the government. Hey, why? Because I was making it.
I know. The same thing happened to me.
Yeah.
I remember just being livid. I was just like, are you kidding me? I worked in healthcare and I was making, no, I wasn't on salary. Like I was on hourly. And I remember, having to owe money. And I'm like, I am barely surviving. How do I owe you money?
I was working two minimum wage jobs and I owed money. And like, I'm sorry, like 2 minimum wage jobs does not put me into like a higher tax bracket.
Yeah.
Like just because I'm working 6 to 7 days a week for like $12 an hour doesn't mean like I deserve to get like.
I think part of it though is like, well, I mean, I know nothing but about taxes, but I think it definitely does depend on like if the place that you're working at like is taxing you properly. So obviously, if they're under taxing you, that's when you owe money. And so I guess that's like what happened to me, but.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even a lot that I owed, but I just remember like just being so furious, like having to pay this. I think it was honestly under like $100, but
I owed like $900, which was huge.
That's a lot. That's a groceries.
Yeah, that's a month rent.
Yeah.
Like this was a while back, but I remember being really ticked off about it. But either way, like that was the only time that ever happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
Every other time, like, so you get like $100, But
That's actually true too, right? Even though you didn't necessarily owe, I never got any massive return.
I think I got a massive return recently.
No, but like
Past year and the year
before,
before.
yeah. So how long did it take you to get there? Like, you know what I mean? Like that's
And it wasn't even because like I get taxed more. It's because I put so much money away,
yeah.
like RSPs and stuff like that. That's where I get that. And also the food bank. Like I donate to a local food bank and stuff like that. So I'm always you get, but
Very
don't even
no.
barely get any.
No, you don't. I don't even claim my
I do.
donations.
I do.
Right.
I'm gonna get my $2 one way or the other.
Basically.
Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, that was, I know everyone wants to hear about taxes, but that's happening. It's honestly April, the end of April in Canada is so boring. Like
It's
we have an election, we have taxes, muddy weather.
Yeah,
but then we have the playoffs. The hockey playoffs are pretty intense.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's interesting. Well, it's about as exciting as we get.
Yeah, well, and it's always the weird weather, like where it's like one day it's like 20.
So yeah, it's always the weird weather.
Yeah, where it's like 20 degrees outside, and then like the next day it can, or even overnight, it gets to like -1. So then in the morning it's like 7 degrees. Like it's the weather is very unpredictable, but I mean, as long as it's not snowing, I'm pretty happy. But it makes it hard to plan stuff. That's what I find, where it's just like, oh, like, am I going to be able to go for a walk outside today? Who knows? Because the weather might change.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just been, I guess 'tis the season, and I think there is more rain in the forecast this week, which, April showers bring me flowers. So yeah.
Do that? Is that from a song?
April showers bring me flowers?
Yeah.
You ever heard that before?
I guess not.
Yeah, because it always rains a lot in April.
Is that from a song?
Yeah.
What song?
Just made up.
Do you like November Rain? It's hard to hold the candle before November Rain.
Once again, I did poorly in musical trivia. Why are you asking me?
Sorry.
Musical.
It's time when your Garfunkel's fine, my bad.
No, it's not my Garfunkel, I know.
You know November Rain too. Guns N' Roses?
Probably, if I heard it. That's the issue that I had, right? Is like these songs would come on during trivia, and I would like know it, or I could sing along to it, but don't ask me what the title of the song is, especially if it's not in the chorus, or the name of the band that's singing it.
So, okay, you're sitting here right now. Do you not know? Have you ever heard of Guns N' Roses?
Yeah.
Okay, well then that's all.
I know, but I wouldn't know if it's like Guns N' Roses. Like if once again, if I'm listening to it, I would know it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be able to, like, to me, it's like literally picking it out of the sky to be like, oh yeah, like that's Guns N' Roses versus like, I don't know.
Let's also be honest. Like, would you ever sit there and listen to 30 seconds of Guns N' Roses? You're quite annoyed by certain songs.
Oh, actually,
like in music trivia, or there was ever time being like, okay, I'm done with the song.
Oh, like on Friday? I'm sure there was, but once again, I don't remember. But no, actually, funnily enough, when I was growing up, like this was when I was like really young, and there was always like a group of us like core kids that would kind of like hang out together, just maybe like 5 of us or something, and we would like be in one of their basements, like listening to Guns N' Roses. And honestly, we were 8.
Okay.
Like we were very young listening to Guns N' Roses.
was like, don't let anyone listen.
No, it wasn't like underground listening. It was like black market, like Guns N' Roses, like.
You have it on like the lowest.
Side B, what?
You have it on the lowest volume.
Yeah. No, I do remember listening to it like.
Okay.
As a kid in that context, but once again, I wouldn't be able to like identify. Maybe I would for their popular songs actually, but.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, like even like Sweet Home Alabama, I think I got wrong. I think it was like the Kid Rock version, but I thought Leonard Skinner sang it, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're both right on both of that.
I know, but the one that they were playing, because what they did was they had it in succession, so it was like 15 questions for 3 different eras. So it was like the 90s and it was 15 songs, 2000s, and then 2010s.
Right.
So I wasn't really, and I guess I could have maybe heard his voice was a little bit different, but because it was Kid Rock.
Oh.
It ended up being Kid Rock because I guess he probably redid it.
Yeah.
Like he did it in the 2000s.
I'm pretty sure he did. Don't know a lot of Kid Rock. Yeah, his song came on one night recently, that Ba song. I'm not going to sing it.
Kid Rock. I don't know.
The one where he literally starts the song being like, "My name is Kid Rock."
Oh.
And he screams it.
I don't know.
Because that's always been cool in music, is to like say your own name. It seriously is. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, I can think of like 3 artists that would always say their name.
Did Eminem?
Well, yeah, he has like 3 songs about how he's Eminem and the Slim Shady, right? So
Yeah.
that was a cool thing to do in the 90s.
Is that who you were thinking of?
I was thinking of Mike Jones. He was like this rapper. I'm Mike Jones, something like that. Yeah,
Don't know.
it was a cool thing to do in rap.
Don't know who that is.
Yeah, don't worry.
Listen.
So, yeah.
Well.
Cool. Dead air.
Dead air on the airwaves.
Dead air. I guess like the only other thing that's been going on is been playing some new video games.
Oh. But I said weed.
And as I bring it up, everyone shut off the podcast.
I know, right?
That's why, like, my week hasn't been that exciting. I've just been nerding it up a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Going any more details? Oh well. Yeah, that's it. Oh, and hey, show-wise, got some shows.
TV show?
Yeah.
What?
I want to watch that Slow Horses.
Maybe you should read the book first.
Do I? If that's the case, I would never watch it.
Yeah, that's true.
Is that why you're not watching Lord of the Rings? You want to read the book first?
Or Harry Potter, or all those. That's my way out.
Oh, I haven't read the book yet.
That's my escape from it.
Okay. I honestly want you to start doing that to people. Like, if they invite you, especially like horror movies, because half of them are Stephen King novels. I want to read the Stephen King novel first.
Yeah, that'd be great. Well, one of the new shows, which I think has become like quite popular, is Pit.
Yeah.
Which I know you're not watching, obviously, with me, but it's with Noah Wiley, who used to be one of the main guys, along with like George Clooney and a couple other guys for ER.
Okay.
So he's kind of back in the hospital scene setting. And it's really good.
Yeah. Is it after ER? So every time I try to get out, they call me back.
And I didn't realize that. I mean, I kind of had forgotten about him, obviously, like for whatever 20 years or ish. But he's like 52. I was shocked.
That popped up recently too. There's another show that you're watching, and it had the guy from Gilmore.
Yeah, Rankin Creek.
Yeah, it had the guy from Gilmore Girls, who looks great.
Oh no, that was something else.
Sandersons or something, or but you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
And you're like, how old is he? I'm like 66, and like you were like, you almost had a heart attack.
I did. It's wild. I mean, he looks, not only does he look pretty good, but like I just can't believe he's basically our parents' age. Well, mother's age. It's
I guess
weird.
It's different, right? Because like it doesn't surprise me because my dad's super handsome. So like I know older guys are really good looking. Maybe it's not the same for you.
So his looks are deceiving.
Maybe. Well, yeah, he just looks like Bert Cummings from the Guess Who. That's a band.
I guess that's your opinion.
It's actually correct. They,
there is a vote.
Where he's from is like Bert Cummings look alike on Sesame One. No, so yeah, you're watching that. All their junk shows are done.
So like all the reality. Yeah, we're still watching some.
Yeah, but Southern Charm is done. So that's when I know. Winter's truly over, is because all the good shows go away, and they say go outside and do something. It's like, but I just wanted to watch more Southern Charm.
I know, but we don't really like watch consistently too many shows together. Really, actually, you're normally like
that's a good thing.
Doing your thing, and I'm kind of doing my thing.
We don't like a lot of the same stuff though. Like
that, I cannot argue.
Yeah, like you, at its core, we do like dramas. It's just like the dramas I like, have to have some weird twist or something weird about it. Yours are more like, hey, let's like this. I think we both like character developments, but like yours is like character development.
Yeah.
Like I like The Last of Us or Severance. I'm sure the big show's going on right now. And you would not want to watch Last of Us. It's very spooky. And Severance is sort of depressing.
It's sort of. It's very depressing.
I've never watched
I never watched it, but I know it's basically like an office setting. Like, why would I want to work in an office all day in my 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, and then after doing all that, then watch a show about a setting that's in an office?
Well, it's not just about
But I know it's not just like office. Yeah. There's obviously two sides.
And you say that, but we watched a lot of The Office.
Yeah.
And and Friends.
But that's funny though.
And yeah, fair enough. But I'm just trying to point. I didn't dunk on any of your shows, and you're starting to dunk on mine, right? Like, let's get started on that.
No, I'm just saying like why I don't like watching them, but I'm not saying that that's.
So I think that's Slow Horse. Looks like there might be something we both want to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm into that. And I think too I don't know if it's like not like in your defense, but that I have a very niche like type of show or movie that I watch. Like I don't watch a lot of stuff really. Like I'm very just like I like kind of.
I think I watch niche stuff.
No, I don't mean niche. No, I don't. Sorry, I don't mean niche as in like the topic is niche, but I only like very specific things.
Yes, yeah, you have, and that's with you with a lot of stuff. Even with music, like you like a certain thing,
yeah,
and it has to follow. And it's not like you don't ever go out of that box. It's just like there's certain things that you really enjoy, and you enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
I will also say one thing about shows with you is that you do not like shows with a lot of hype.
Yes, I try to avoid.
But you do sometimes come around to it, like White Lotus. You didn't watch like 2 seasons, and finally you're like, I'll watch this.
But I still haven't caught it. I still haven't caught
it. Kind of
season 3, I think maybe episode 2, which obviously the finale of season 3, which had a lot of like good and bad kind of like opinions. Like there was kind of like one or two, you're one of two camps, whether it was really good or it was really bad.
No spoilers.
Well, I haven't seen it.
No spoilers.
But I don't know. I just haven't gotten hooked on it. And there's a couple other shows, once again, like Ransom Creek and The Pit that I have a little bit more like interest in. But one show that I think probably has become quite popular is the 3rd season specifically of Love on the Spectrum, which is, oh my gosh, I pretty much only watch it for like Connor and Georgina because they were just like, no, Georgia. I don't know. I watched. I'm getting it mixed up with something. So yeah, I don't know if everybody like dated like how they date on that show. Like how much different would like the dating world be? Like it would just be so much nicer. And
it is and it isn't, right?
Easier.
Like a lot of them do. Like, not all of them are together, and so you see failures. I think what's really cool about that show is that everyone's pretty genuine.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's reality, and I'm sure it's scripted just like all reality is, but like you can also feel like they're genuinely trying. And there's a few shows like that. Like we watch like Galen Out Loud, which the girl has Tourette's, which most people seem oddly genuine because she literally saying stuff that she can't control, right? And I just find there's like so much. You have a word for where it's just like people like know her on TV and then the TV answers. It is a term used. Yeah, it is performing. It's just like fair enough. Like some stuff goes through because you can't put a mask on forever. But like it's it's the stuff a lot of it we do watch together and. I can't stand it mostly because I just think there's just people that don't right. Like it doesn't.
What do you mean?
The sniff test doesn't work. And I can't think of an example, but you know what I mean. There's people out there in certain shows that I just despise because I know who they are, but they act a certain different way. But then their mask falls off for a minute. And
I think maybe a key example of that, and obviously like the show was around forever, but I think like that happened with Vanderpump, where like they started to just like chase this like idea of like fame. I think originally like when the show started, like they still obviously wanted to be on TV, but I think they became so influenced about what their image was on TV. So they acted quote unquote on the show in a different way to like how they were like in real life. But like you say, sometimes like, you know, they would crack and you would like see who they were like. Person that comes to my mind is like Sheena. I think she's kind of a wackadoodle, but
yeah.
Allegedly.
I didn't really watch a lot of the show, Vanderpump. I know a little bit of it, but I don't like. It's funny too because we do watch Ice together, but I won't watch it unless there's someone likable on it. And Vanderpump hasn't had someone likable on it, so I don't watch it.
Like Bo.
Bo was a sweetheart. I even like what the Bo's girl.
Yeah, Stacy. She's actually back for Vanderpump Villa.
But then she came out and said a bunch of like racist stuff. Just
I was like,
so I guess she's cured of racism, I suppose, right? I'm just like that's the mask falling off, right? That's who you are, and that's who you are.
mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that she can't change, but you're no longer likable to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like that wasn't even on TV. That was on Twitter. So you actually had control on it. So either way, like I'm just saying, I don't watch some of these shows because like Love on the Spectrum has people that are likable.
Mm-hmm.
I actually was talking to your sister's partner about it and telling him about the Love on the Spectrum, and then he showed me the video because we kind of went there, and then they were like, "Oh, you should watch the show. These Irish guys have Tourette's." And I did, and it was amazing. Mm-hmm. It was like a show from like 12 years ago, and I was just like, great.
Yeah, I just think they're just pure, and I mean, obviously, like there's something that makes them want to be on TV, but you know what I mean, like because they still are on TV, so there's obviously something there that they're looking for. But I think for the most part, like they're honest, like you're saying, genuine and likable, and truly are just kind of like themselves.
Right.
Which not a lot of reality shows are obviously like that anymore. So, but. Well, do you have any random questions for this week? Questions?
Well, it's kind of a hard one, but we've talked about it, and it's more of like a question for the people listening with the animals in their lives. So, I've asked you this question before, and this is a weird question, so, be sitting down. If you look at your dog, and that dog, and you had to say that dog was a human for a minute, what would their job be? Mm-hmm. I'm going to repeat this. So if your dog was a human, what would their job be as a human being? When I look at Duke, I've seen a librarian, I've seen a detective, and I've also just seen someone that just has his head in the clouds, unemployed.
Aw, no.
But that's
what about a geologist? No? For him?
It's a bit too. I feel like you have to have kind of a brain. And I'm not saying that Duke's dumb or anything. I just don't think he's got the geologist brain.
He might be a good detector because he's a good sniffer.
He's a detective.
He is a detective of every grass blade there ever was. he sniffs to his heart content. That's certainly what drives him on a walk.
And I would say Lily, the cockapoo, I get lawyer vibes off her. Like I get when you look at her and she gets mad, I just see objection.
That's a good one.
What do you have for answers?
Because she also like I feel like to put it in general terms, I feel like she also can be a little two-faced. Yeah. Right? She can be. She can be like 1 minute she's like really like happy, and then you say that like if you make her mad, she gives a look.
Yeah.
So
maybe even a teacher. Well, maybe not. Lawyers we
because she's really like Lily's smarter than Duke for sure. Sorry, Duke, but she definitely is the quicker one of the bunch of, and also I think not only is she smarter, but I think she like gets things more where it's I don't know how to explain it, but like she will she'll try and outsmart you kind of thing in a way, right?
Yeah.
She'll not do something because she knows better, like otherwise. Whereas Duke, if you have food with Duke, maybe Duke's a chef. He's very food motivated.
If Duke was heavier, then yes.
Yeah.
Because
Remember someone called him like chubby a couple days ago, and I was
well, it's like a couple months ago, but it feels like it was
no,
yesterday.
it was like 2 weeks ago when we were sitting downtown by the river.
Yeah,
and a couple
well,
walked by. And I was like highly offended.
yeah,
I
you
didn't
know,
tell her that. But
well, yeah. If I would have known that would have offended you, I would have said, I'm like, hey, I'm like, you're a bit chubby yourself.
no.
Well, then let me like burn the person back. They're gonna talk smack about my son. I'll talk smack about them.
Yeah. No, it's just like
I've
when
been like, what's your excuse?
it's just like
He's the chef.
when my mom first took one of the cats that we found in a garbage bin. Um, to the vet. They called Allie like Scruffy,
Yeah.
and my mom was also highly offended and was like, "Don't call my kitten Scruffy." I mean, given to like where he had just come from, like he had a rough, couple months to start his life, and it's like,
Yeah, but I'm telling you, if I was there with your mom and that happened,
yeah,
and I would have said to the person like, and I assume it might have been, I would hope it would have been a female because it wouldn't have been cool if it was a male. I'm like, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Your beard is a bit scruffy today. Your mom would have loved that. She would have been like, thank you, Eric,
That's
for
true.
sticking up for Allie.
Yeah,
You've stuck up for all the Allies.
I know, right? That's true.
So yeah, so think about that. What's the dog's job?
Are you?
That's my
Is that
random
the
question,
report?
but I wanted that to the people.
Yeah. Oh well.
And if you don't have a dog, then go look at a dog down the street.
Or a cat. Cats could be. They direct people. They're the directors.
I don't know.
They don't
I
work.
feel like cats are they're
They're the
certainly
super
royalty.
Yeah, that's true.
They're
That's very true.
criminal. They're scruffy criminal. All right, so
Cool. Well, we'll wrap it up with what are you thankful for? What do you
I don't
you should thank me for this week?
yeah, I don't know how this came up, but it was another very sweet moment because like I remember a few weeks ago I was just like, thanks for doing the dishes. And sorry if that's gonna be yours this week. But you were saying to me, you were like, it was like at the coffee shop,
Yeah.
and you were like,
Coffee shop or Subway?
it was at Subway. Yeah, you're right. It was a little more romantic at Subway.
Sorry.
No, but you are right. And I was eating a delicious sub, so it actually made it better. You said, oh man, because now you're making my mind bounce. I forget the exact words, but you were like, you said you wouldn't change a thing about me.
Yeah.
Which
yeah.
was like really, 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 really nice.
Mm-hmm.
I think like when you made that video for me on my birthday like months ago, I had like that was like the last time I had a very like heartwarming moment. But this was the next one. It was very, very nice. And, yeah, I appreciate that. Thankful.
Well, good. I agree with it. What I'm thankful for you this week is all the physical labor you put behind planting those damn clematises.
Yeah,
There was 4 of them, and the holes were quite large. And shout out or kudos to all the gardeners out there, especially my mom, who is an avid gardener who works her butt off, not only in her garden but helping many other people in their gardens. So I definitely, kind of forgot, which I guess I kind of do every year. I know once again we don't do that much gardening, but yeah, it was definitely a lot of work, and I would have probably been out there for 4 times as long if you weren't there. Pretty much digging the holes.
As long as you have no questions on how I'm really good at digging holes.
Oh. But I also think that, like I said, we just planted that like 3 or 4 days ago, and I think they're already growing, so I'm happy, and I think the plants are happy, so they must really like that clay ground.
I know, yeah.
Crust clay, rocky black ground.
Clay, and I was like, oh,
yeah.
I do it. All right, well,
cool.
We'll see you next week. Maybe a little bit later this week. We'll have to see.
Yeah. Well, thank you for listening, and we appreciate you tuning in to episode 8. And have a great week.
Bye.
Bye.